To run a successful life, to run a successful organization, our businesses, we really have to develop very powerful, healthy lifetime habits, habits of success. What's wonderful now is we have so many amazing books that are written by so many great, achievers who have shared so many ways and so many powerful methods of attainment, of success, of habits. There's habits of waking up in the morning that you can cultivate. I'm sure some of you've heard about them. There's habits of exercise, of course, that we all know about. There's habits of relationship that perhaps we all can cultivate and foster. So there are many, many habits, and many of us, and I know I experience this quite often, sometimes I feel, as I read these books, as I listen to these lectures, as I receive these wisdoms from other successful entrepreneurs and leaders, how am I going to implement and take on even more and more and more and more of these habits? Well, before we go into how do we take on more habits, how do we implement and bring in more habits, I want to go a little deeper than that. Because if I give you a string of 10 habits to take on today, some of them you might take on, some of them you might go, oh, I've heard these before. Some of you might go, I'll try this a little bit and take that on. But at the end of the day, it'll sort of peter out, most likely. It might. But how do we have a habit that stands the test of time? How do we generate a habit that's sourced not in temporary highs and lows and feel-good experiences? How do we create habits that propel us forward for the rest of our life? First, my friend, what I've discovered is number one, we got to look around and we got to feel inside of ourselves. And we got to get to a place within ourselves where we're feeling for, where am I dissatisfied? Where am I hurting? Where am I hurting in my business? What beliefs, ideas do I have right now inside myself that are causing me suffering, overwhelm, tension? I would only want to create benefits of habits for a particular reason, to improve some area of my life. But when we take our habits and we try to implement them as we do at the beginning of New Year and such, during all these type of phases of our life where we say, okay, New Year's resolution, I'm going to start these habits. They peter out because they're not sourced in your suffering. They're sourced in idealized, romanticized visions of what can be. But you want one to last for a long time. Take a look inside and see, what's it costing you to remain totally where you're at? What's it costing you in your heart, in your body, in your soul, in your spirit, to stay psychologically, spiritually stagnant perhaps, to remain here? What's it costing you in business, in hard dollars, yourself personally, your organization in a larger way? What's it costing the fact that you have challenges that are not being looked at? Sufferings inside yourself, psychological twists and turns, repressions, things that you've stuffed down, things that you avoid like your body or relationships, things that you'll relegate to the future. When I'm free enough, when I have enough time freedom, enough money freedom, then I'll be able to do that. We have a lot of that type of interference pattern going on within ourselves. I'm going to invite you, my friend, to just feel for that right now as a whole in your body. What are the emotions, the feelings? What's the body sensations that go along with your contractures? What images do you have in your mind? What thoughts do you have in your mind? Now, having felt all of this and knowing what's this costing you truly in everything, Do you have an answer? Can you answer for yourself to yourself? Because that's the only one that really matters to. So when we confess what we're losing out on in life, personally, professionally, in our success, we allow ourselves to feel the lack of it. Any parts of us that have been faking or walling off, any discontent, any boredom, apathy, fear, any of it, any part of us that's walled ourselves off from it, let's feel all of that, because that's the root, that soreness, that tenderness, that depth of vulnerability. That's the seed where we plant our habits to move us out of that. And those habits that we wish to form, when they're planted, not out of superficial high of a New Year's resolution or a drummed up affirmation because you're down in a moment, but the choices of now, today, I'm very sober with my body, my high blood pressure, cholesterol. I know what I need to do. When you allow yourself to feel perhaps that on a body level, like I've had to experience and some leaders I've had to mentor, where we actually get really honest. Now, having felt that low and the cost of it in our life, now, okay, I'm ready to start today. This morning, I'm going to have a smoothie. I'm going to let go of the bacon and eggs and toast and butter. Today, I'm going to have a super smoothie. I'm going to start with that, and I'm going to make my habit every single day to have that as my breakfast. A change, a variety in smoothie, perhaps, as an example. But there you have it. Because now that new habit is sourced and grounded in the sobriety of the truth of where you're truly at, rather than the exuberance of where you want to be. This sober rooting in your discontent or your dissatisfaction or perhaps a real challenge, use that as the source and the fuel to fuel your steps forward. And now once you've made the first step, now start thinking, instead of being a dash runner, instead of going for that 100-meter fast dash, I want to be like a train on a track, coming out slow but steady, building steam every single day. See yourself as a heavy train with the new habit that you wish to have, physical, mental habit of reading an X amount of pages per day, an emotional habit of clearing out your emotions at the end of your workday by dancing, by running, by jogging, by hitting a bag, so that when you come home to meet your family, you're fresh, you've less the stress of the day. Now your presence is there as a compassionate being, loving with your beloveds. There is a very powerful everyday practice you can take on, but have that sourced in the suffering that's there. So, in essence, find the suffering that's at the root of any type of denial. Feel it fully. Find the true passionate action, the true habit that you know needs to be taken. Not 100, one true action. Do that one, and then put yourself on the train and think we are going across the country. We're not going to the next door neighbors. We're not going to the mall or plaza. We're not going on vacation. We're going across the country, and we're building a nation through this one habit. That one habit that you bring forth, like a train, steady, sourced in your discontent and sobriety, will bring you ultimate freedom. Ultimately, that will open up and expand the place that you sourced from, and that too will be transformed. Because the power of the train of your habit Just knowing that you are doing that daily, starting today, doing it tomorrow, and the day after, this is where ultimate confidence comes from. It's your belief in your own follow through. Follow through.